CNN's golden boy, their white knight of ethos, Fareed Zakaria, has a video right now, a clip from his show tonight that just is blowing up and going viral, catching red hot fire all over the internet because it is quite astonishing that he's essentially admitting that Biden is going to lose the election. We're going to watch this clip because it's pretty phenomenal, and then I want to talk about it. There's a lot of things on here that it absolutely blew my mind. There's a lot of things that Fareed said. And Fareed is, I would have to say, as much as I abhor state media, corporate media, especially CNN, I think they spin the news more than Rafael Nadal's forehand. I really think that Fareed Zakaria has a definite reservoir of credibility amongst journalists and in the entire world of global news publications. And I myself can say that, and I think this video proves it even further, cementing that. I myself can say that I think Fareed, even though he does work for one of the worst entities in news, I have to say I do think that he is usually forthright, and more often than not, he gives a pretty sound take on things. So there's a couple of things really quickly before I show the clip. There's a couple of things on here that I really thought, it just blew my mind. I never thought in a million years that that CNN even allowed him to say. I was really blown away by that. But there's also a couple of things that I find extremely skeptical. And it gets my kind of brain working, my critical thinking engine working in maybe perhaps a different way. And I really want to talk about this. So let's watch the clip and stick around and we'll kind of go through this.
When President Biden made clear he was going to run for re-election, I had a sense of what his election strategy was and thought it was an intelligent path to victory. After the chaos of COVID and Trump, Joe Biden would stand for normalcy and a rising tide of good economic news. Donald Trump would divide Republicans, with significant chunks of the party wishing that someone like Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis would be their nominee. Meanwhile, Trump would unite and motivate Democrats, allowing President Biden to focus on the votes of independents and swing states who threw the Electoral College to Trump in 2016 and to Biden in 2020. I have to admit, none of this is playing out as I thought it would. Trump is now leading in almost all the swing states, but behind those numbers lie even more troubling details. As someone worried about the prospects of a second Trump term, I think it's best to be honest about reality. I understand that polls are not always accurate, but in general, they have tended to underestimate Donald Trump's support, not overestimate it. I doubt that there are many shy Biden voters in the country. The economy has been in a robust recovery for more than 2 years now, with unemployment hitting a 54-year low in 2023 and increasing only slightly since then. But Biden is getting little credit for it. The shift here is stark. On the question of who voters trust more to deal with the economy, Trump has a 22-point lead over Biden, according to an NBC poll from January. This marks a 15-point bump for Trump compared to the same poll in 2020. Perhaps this is because inflation is a far more pervasive problem than unemployment, affecting all Americans every day. Perhaps it's because people's views on the economy now are largely derived from their broader attitudes towards the candidates. But whatever the reasons, it's a stunning reversal in the midst of a relentless stream of good economic news. On cultural issues, Biden and Democrats benefit from the opposition to the Republican Party's position on abortion. But on the other great cultural issue, immigration, Biden is 35 points behind Trump as to who would handle it better. And I do wonder whether abortion will be as large an issue in a presidential race, given that reversing Roe v. Wade threw the issue to state governments and legislatures and not the federal government. Perhaps the most worrying new trend for the Democrats is that far from being the more unified party, they are now bitterly divided over the war in Gaza. Bernie Sanders has said the eruption of pro-Palestinian protests could be Biden's Vietnam, and even invoked the specter of Lyndon Johnson choosing not to run for re-election in 1968 because of the opposition to that war. The analogy is far-fetched. America then was itself sending hundreds of thousands of troops to Vietnam, with more being recruited from college campuses every week. But there's no denying that the party seems more openly divided than it has been in decades. Only 33% of Americans said they approved of Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas war, which is now opposed both by people who think he is too soft and people who think he is too hard on Israel. Meanwhile, Republicans seem to be uniting behind Trump. Whatever opposition he faced in the primaries has largely melted away. And the trials against him keep him in the spotlight, infuriate his base, who sees him as a martyr, and even may serve to make him the object of some sympathy among people in general who believe that his prosecutors are politically motivated. This happens to be true, in my opinion. I doubt the New York indictment would have been brought against a defendant whose name was not Donald Trump. A majority of Americans are skeptical that Trump will be able to get a fair trial, according to a CNN poll. And I haven't even mentioned Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Cornel West and Jill Stein, all of whom would probably take votes away from Biden. Things could change. Polls do suggest that were Trump to be convicted of a felony, it could shift votes in Biden's favor. The administration may be able to pull off a ceasefire in Gaza and then a broader political settlement that gives Palestinians political rights and Israel diplomatic relations with Saudi Arabia. Trump could always embroil himself in some kind of scandal. But trend lines are not working in Biden's favor. He needs to do something bold and dramatic to seize the initiative, on asylum policy, for example, and reverse these numbers. The one that troubles me the most is on the question of who was the more competent. Joe Biden led Donald Trump by 9 points in 2020, but Trump now leads by 16 points in January 2024. That 25-point shift could be a reflection of people's sense that the president's age is affecting his capacity to govern. And there's very little that Joe Biden can do now to change that perception.
Okay, so, wow. Let me know your initial thoughts on this in the comments. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of this. But here's some things that I think are really, really interesting. Number one, the thing that I never thought in a million years CNN would admit, or at least CNN would let Fareed Zakaria admit, is the fact that you heard him say on air, on CNN, probably the most woke left state corporate media entity out there, besides MSNBC maybe. He talked about the sham of all of these trials, especially the New York trial, the hush money trial, where Michael Cohen is supposed to testify very, very soon. He actually admitted, he said, I in part think it'd be hard to file an indictment on somebody not named Donald Trump in New York. I mean, he literally admitted. That, to me, is hugely astonishing. I'm blown away that he was allowed on CNN to admit that everybody, we've been saying this for months, for years. We've been talking about Cash Money G. We've been talking about Letitia Big Shame James. The fact that he admitted that on CNN, to me, is very profound, very huge. The severity of that. Don't let the severity of that get lost on you. But let me know in the comments what you think. I felt that the numbers that the analysis and the poll numbers, I think reflect pretty accurately how people view the competency of our vegetable in chief, Tombstone Biden, versus the former president, President Trump. I definitely think his age is a big problem. I definitely think his ego, his narcissism of not seeing the reality of how his age has affected his cognition, his ability to speak without, slurring, without forgetting things. I think his hubris will eventually be the end of him. I think those numbers and that analysis is very, very accurate. I thought the most poignant thing that he said, probably the most impactful thing that he said, Fareed said in his broadcast, was the fact that the polling numbers show that analysis shows that Trump is ahead in all of the major swing states. But what's troubling is not the underestimation. I know that some people don't trust polls, he said. I for one, don't. I know maybe you don't either. Let me know. Do you guys trust polls? Let me know in the comments. But the fact that he said usually those polls don't overestimate Trump's numbers, but they underestimate Trump's numbers. You don't hear of too many people, quote, being shy about being outspoken about voting for Biden. But you do hear that more often than not for Trump, especially in 2016. That was kind of the pervasive thought. Was that, remember when we went into 2016, everybody thought that Hillary had it. It was locked. I think even Trump thought Hillary had it. I think when he made that speech at like 2 a.m. or whatever, when he finally was declared the president, I think even he was in shock. You could almost tell. He was like, whoa, what just happened here? So I thought that was really interesting. And I thought that was really a true statement. And again, it's another thing that makes me respect Fareed more than any of these other woke pundits. Now, my skepticism lies in this. You know how I've been saying for a very, very long time now, even way before his State of the Union, I said that it is only a matter of time, especially after Robert Hur's report came out and he did that train wreck of a press conference where he basically, said on national global television, he basically said that, he talked to the Mexico borders Israel. I mean, that whole fiasco, what a nightmare that was. It's really sad as an American. It's really sad as somebody who loves his country deeply to see this embarrassment, this stumbling, fumbling, mumbling vegetable represent us. It's just really embarrassing. I don't denigrate him for any kind of, this isn't ad hominem or some kind of maliciousness. It's out of deep sadness because we are better than this. We deserve better than this. And with all intents and purposes, we should have gotten better than this. So I said for a very, very long time that I think it's just a matter of time until they start replacing him. And it's not going to be abrupt. When they start to really see that there's no way this guy can win, they're going to start laying the groundwork. Well, I can't think of a better chess move. I can't think of a better long play than having probably one of the most credible, respectable pundits on both sides of the aisle, Fareed Zakaria, essentially do just that, lay the groundwork. The reason why this video is going viral, the reason why the whole internet is blowing up over this video, over Fareed's take, is because of just that, of the things that he said, the impact of what he said, the fact that he literally admitted on CNN that Biden does not have a chance to win. It really speaks volumes for my assessment and my kind of prediction that I still think that he's not going to be the Democrats' candidate. He's not going to be on the ticket. That's a prediction. It's a bold one, but if the Democrats, I truly believe there's plenty of time, and I want to talk about what else he said too, when he said, things could change. He could actually get a ceasefire. He could actually, if Trump gets convicted, I want to talk about that in just a second. But this is really almost like one of the biggest chess moves, I think, for laying the foundation of that eventual, perhaps inevitable decision. What do you guys think? I want to hear what you guys think in the comments. My skepticism lies in the fact that he said polls show if Trump gets convicted, that votes could shift over to Biden. Like, what? Excuse me? That just seems in direct contradiction to what you said about how you thought that these trials were sham, that they were a complete farce, a clown show, which I think the majority of people, especially credible people in the business world, in the political world, in the legal world, they all think that these trials should never be happening. There's no reason. They should never see the light of court. If he gets convicted and he actually spends time behind bars, I think that's just going to up his political prowess and his political points even more. That's just my take. I want to know, but Fareed essentially was saying if he gets convicted, that Trump essentially is going to lose a lot of votes. I don't understand how you can say on one hand it's a sham And on the other hand, if he gets convicted in that sham court, he's going to lose his votes. That doesn't make any sense to me. Does that make sense to you? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments. Now, I don't want to jinx this. I don't want to jinx this one bit. So I have not said anything to the effect of who's going to win. A lot of people are saying online, oh, it's going to be a landslide. It's going to be a landslide. Trump. Of course, that's what we want. I'm not going to say that. But there is something I am going to say. I am seeing a proud movement. I am seeing a renewed vigor in the American dream, in America, in American pride. My channel is all about making patriotism go viral. I want patriotism to go viral. And the best way to do that is by you tapping the thumbs up. It takes you a nanosecond. It's free. Just tap the thumbs up and share this with everybody you know. It's very important. We need to make patriotism go viral. It's working. You can see the polls numbers. Channels like mine, I truly believe we make a huge difference. Media makes it, because we cover everything that mainstream doesn't cover. And now it's bleeding into mainstream. Fareed is starting to sound like my channel in a little minor molecule of a way. So I don't want to jinx it, but I'm seeing a powerful, inspiring movement. I'm seeing a very strong wave, a sentiment that is building and building and building. We still have 6 months, guys. We have a long ways away till the election. If we had the election tomorrow, yeah, I might, toot a different song. But we have a long ways to go. And I still think, as dumb as the Democrats are, as anti-American as they are, I think they still have a little bit of intelligence to know that this guy, the vegetable in chief, Tombstone Biden, and lowest approval rating of any political officer on planet Earth, Kami Kamala, they've got to be thinking the ticket that they have right now is in dire trouble. And I would not be surprised if they make a huge change before the conventions, or who knows, maybe even at the convention. I don't know. What do you guys think? I want to pass this off to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of what Fareed said? What do you think of what my analysis and my commentary is? I would love to hear from you. As always, I try really, really hard to respond to every single comment, but it's literally physically impossible. So members get top priority. Super chats, super thanks are much, much appreciated. Consider becoming a member. It only costs you a cup of coffee to support the truth and make patriotism go viral. Literally, that's all it costs you. You spend more than that in 30 seconds every morning. You can support this channel, but you get a ton of perks. Not only do you get access to our members-only Discord, where we all hang out, engage, and talk on a whole new level that we don't do on our YouTube channel. You get a special badge next to your name, shout-outs in live streams, top priority comments, exclusive content, and a whole lot more. Exclusive live Q&A, exclusive live streaming. We give away Amazon gift cards. We give away shirts, hats to members-only live streams. A lot of benefits. It only costs you a cup of coffee. Consider that. I do have something free for you, though. I would highly implore you, I beseech you, become a Nez Nation Insider. What's Nez Nation Insider, you say? It's our free newsletter. It's absolutely free. This is your sure-proof, fail-safe way of never missing out on new videos, new live streams, current events, top stories, live breaking news as it happens that these guys, mainstream media, don't cover, right to your inbox. All of that information is in the pinned comment, in the show notes, and in the description. Go, it's free. It's absolutely free. It takes you 2 seconds. Go sign up. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right now, especially this one I just posted today. As always, God bless you, and may God bless America. I'll see you soon.